Yeah, and you know, I have some further thoughts in terms of rational self-interest. Okay? To me, there's no such thing as a rational self-interest, because self-interest by definition means that certain things come into play which will benefit you, your kind, or your own family. That is, in the larger picture, perhaps not rational at all. Let's say, I'll give you an example, okay? Let's say, rationally, I think that universal health care is the best way to go. And people should receive adequate minimum care funded by taxpayer dollars and so on. Now, if my own best friend gets very ill, very sick, how long do you think I'm going to stand by that principle of that rationality? Do you think I'm just going to abandon that person and say, well, you know, basically I stand totally behind national health care, and this is what my platform is, and because I have that platform, I can't give you any help because my ideology trumps yours or anyone else's, and so I'm sorry, because of that I can't help you out anymore. So my rational response should be to reject that notion of me providing help for this other person, when in reality it works out quite differently. I actually like that person. I actually feel for that person. So naturally, and this is also natural, I want to help that person, no matter what circumstance brought this about. Now, the philosophy of Ayn Rand says that basically, in that sort of an instance, you should think logically, think it through, and stand by your principles, and no longer help that person because it's not going to contribute to the larger idea of the whole. You know, basically, I don't know too many people who can actually do this in their own lives. If somebody that you're close to, your friend, your coworker, your mother, your child, gets into trouble, and then you say, well, thinking rationally about all this, you know what? I think I'm just not going to help you out anymore because your ideas are stupid. You're not thinking rationally, and there you go. You're on your own. That is essentially the entire philosophy of Ayn Rand, because she doesn't take into account human psychology, human interaction, and the possibility that humans don't always think rationally. In her world, everybody that is acting out of self-interest is by definition a rational person, when this is not at all the case. There are so many examples of people acting in their self-interests who are not rational people. In fact, they cause harm to others by promoting that very idea. There are many ideas in this world, you know, and humans do not automatically act rationally at every point. Far from it. But this is what Ayn Rand and her entire philosophy completely ignores. It is non-existent in her worldview. Compassion and caring for others is a matter, I suppose, of only self-interest in her view. You know, I'm not a Christian. I'm not somebody who says, you know, follow the doctrine or whatever. But this kind of worldview is just simply warped. People, even without religion, can follow certain ethical standards, you know, on a private and on a community level. And Ayn Rand failed to see this completely, possibly due to her own background as a child or adolescent, in which her own privileged family was basically kicked out of the country. She has some valid viewpoints in terms of individualism, but what she ignored was the collective spirit of people when they don't agree with something anymore, and for whatever reason, you know. Ayn Rand's philosophy is not going to be our answer. Neither is capitalism or communism, you know. Some middle ground can be found here, but it has to be fought for by ordinary folks like you and me, so that we're not ruled by some robber barons at the top. And this is what is starting to happen in this country right now. We're moving back to the 19th century, and it's not a good thing.